Welcome back, Shalligators. Yes, I'm finally back from St. Bart's, and we're diving back into what we've been talking about, which is Love is Blind. Now, the reunion just came out a day or so ago. Was it drama or was it not? Yes, it was. Okay, we're going to go through some of the stuff that we heard. I'm going to tell you who's doing pretty well and adorable and who is completely full of shit. Shayna, shake. And also, we're going to talk about what to do if you're in Shake's position, where you meet someone great and they're fantastic and you know that, and yet you do not want to hook up with them. You have the ick. The ick is that feeling of the ick. You don't want anything to physically do with them. And it's important, we will say this right up front. The ick is not for icky people. I have gotten the ick for, one was literally an Abercrombie model. Like, we will get the ick for people who are, we can see, very attractive, but it's simply a lack of chemistry. Have we not all been in that situation? What do you do about it? And more importantly, can it be solved? Ooh. We're going to get down into it. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to tell you what Shake should have done. And we're going to explore how to tell if a guy is attracted to you. What are the telltale signs that he's not? I'm going to break it all down for you, of course. But before we get started, just want to remind you, if you want to talk to me one-on-one, you've got a situation, you don't know if it's the ick or whatever, family, friends, anything in between, feel free to connect with me over on my website, shallonlester.com, and click submit a question. I answer all of them, get back to you just in 24 hours. If you really need some ASAP help, that's an option. Also, if you want a little custom video from me or a birthday shout out for someone, a pep talk for a friend, anything like that, and you live in the US, head to cameo.com. Or if you're living outside the US, it's memmo, memmo.me. Also, we've got some links down below to help with the Ukraine crisis, some animal shelters to donate to in Ukraine, some charities that are helping animals in the refugee camps, plus Bethany Frankel's charity Be Strong, which has raised $25 million already. Alpha female shit right there. Unbelievable. But she's setting up refugee camps and doing so much on the ground out there. It's really fantastic. Also, just let you know, this is a microphone and not a Q-tip. People always get confused. Don't need a Q-tip to do a YouTube video, as it turns out. Okay, turns out, we're going to talk about Love is Blind today. So I'm not going to recap everyone's story. If you clicked on this video, hopefully you know the Love is Blind couples. If not, oh my God, go watch this season. It's such an interesting sociological experiment, you know, because the reason this show is, I don't want to say like revolutionary, but watchable, is it like, can you fall in love without knowing what someone looks like? The implied truth there is that's very difficult. Why? Do looks actually matter? Yeah. Well, let's put an asterisk there. We know that like looks, of course, looks matter. I mean, no one's like, I want that smelly rat person that just slithered out of a sewer. No, of course not. Chemistry matters. When I look back on all the people that I've dated, and it has been a lot, the people I have fallen in love with the hardest aren't the most attractive. I mean, like I said, I've gotten the ick for male models. I've gotten the ick for gorgeous triathletes, like beautiful, healthy, fit, on paper, sexy men that I'm like, I literally want nothing to do with you physically. At the end of the day, we're animals, right? You'll be walking your dog and it'll come across another dog, and for no reason, what do you do when that happens? Are you like, Noodles, keep talking to this dog? Like, you're not putting them in a room by themselves together. You're like, whoa, we better separate them. For whatever reason, they ain't getting along. Same with like any other animal on earth. But for some reason, we as humans feel like we have to like everybody. Well, I'm so sorry. We as women, right? We as women have to like everyone. Recently in St. Bart's, there was this girl who was like in sort of like our circle, you know, we met through people. I did not like her. Like, from the jump, I'm like, I don't like you. It was like an animal reaction to who she was. And someone was like, why don't you like her? And I'm like, I just don't. I'm not going to treat her any differently. I'm not going to like be snide or glare at her. I was perfectly polite and had conversation, but I kept a distance from her. There was something I'm like, I don't want her to know too much about me. I don't need her to know my deep, dark secret. No, it was Two dogs passing each other, not loving it. And I don't think she liked me either. It's like, I can tell when the chemistry, because we can have platonic chemistry, obviously. You know, you meet people and you just get on like a house on fire. It can go in reverse. If you can have positive chemistry, obviously you can have negative chemistry. But just like love, the opposite of love isn't hate, it's apathy. So the opposite of chemistry isn't negative chemistry, it's not hate, because at least that has a spark of passion. It's, I got nothing. I feel nothing. And when we listened to how Shake described his fiance, Deepti, it was clearly the ick. I'm going to talk about him in a minute. We're going to shred Shake to the gods. Let's go through some of the other people. I am so interested what we didn't hear about Salvador and Mallory, right? Like, Salvador, I feel like he grew on me during the show. He is the perfect example of a fireplace versus a firework. Now look, we talk about this on the channel. Like, fuckboys are fireworks. Shane, to me, is a firework. Like, big flash, razzle dazzle, life of the party, teeth, Gary Busey, eyes rolling around in his head. I'm like, are you seizing out right now? What is happening? But he's like very impressive, physically imposing. Like, he's that guy, right? What is an actual firework like? Big flash, gone. And you get too close, it'll burn you. A fireplace? That's how we describe quality men. Takes a little more effort to get it going. Takes a little bit longer to get it all roaring to life. But once it does, it's going to keep you warmer longer. It's going to actually sustain you. And that was Salvador. I didn't really like him at first. I thought he was boring. He came across to me kind of as a beta male. But a lot of quality guys can strike you that way. I look back at my husband, my ex-husband, not like he was ever a beta male, but he was like Salvador, reserved, very thoughtful, but consistent. Not shy. Shy's like, oh, like I'm bashful, I'm full of anxiety. He was just more low key. But that man got warmed up and he was an incredible person. And I mean both my ex-husband and Salvador, you know? I think even like the way Salvador, because he decided not to marry Mallory, his speech that he gave to her family and friends was so respectful. It was so nice. Because it was conscientious of how they felt and how this affected them. And he's like, I wish I gotten to spend more time with you, and I want to. And I want, you know, this is your experience as well as ours. And I thought that's a pack leader right there. That is a man who is concerned with the rest of the flock, okay? Not just him. By contrast, how did Shake react when Deepti left him? It's fine. It's cool. This is a party. Ha ha! I don't even care. I've got reservations at Nobu. Right? Beta male. Beta. Cutting other people down. It doesn't even matter. I don't feel feelings because that would mean I cared, and I don't because I don't. Bye. Pathetic. And like, we can see it, right? But with Salvador and Mallory, yeah, like, what happened? I feel like Sal ended their relationship like, hey, you know, we're going to be friends. Let's get together. Let's try and talk it out. You know, very respectful. And I feel like the last few weeks or months or however long it's been since they actually stopped filming has just let his anger fester. Like, that boy looked like he was going to explode on that reunion. Like, his eyes were completely black like a great white shark. I'm like, what exactly happened? The only thing I can think is that he watched the show and that he saw the connection between Jarrett and Mallory and was like, that's the conversation you got. Okay. Now, the big issue was Jarrett having that conversation in Mexico with Mallory, how he's like, you didn't even want that ring. You didn't want that ring. First of all, let me just say, Jarrett stand forever. I love him. I would have chosen him 100%. Like, if I'd been in the pods, like, he would have been my guy. He's so cute. I love his family. Like, I'm just like in love with his father and his mother. Like, they're adorable. And he just is a consistent guy. Like, he's self-aware, but he doesn't take himself too seriously, which I think is really cute. But one thing he did that I saw so many people on this show do, and I think this is like, I notice this is a trend. I own that. I own that. When actually, they don't own it. Do you know what I mean? Okay, so here's what Jarrett did. Sal confronted him about that conversation he had with his fiance at the time, Sal's fiance at the time. It's like, you know, we would have been really good together. That guy didn't even get you the ring that you like. And Jarrett was like, that was so inappropriate. Like, I'm so sorry. I own that. Like, I shouldn't have inserted myself. I I honestly think, and maybe I'm just kind of a bellicose person, stirring the pot, I think Jarrett should have been like, well, she didn't like that ring. And I know that because I asked her what kind of ring she liked and you didn't. Like, I will own that. If I'm going to own something, I'm going to own that. I asked her those things and you didn't. And that doesn't mean that you didn't love her. I was just pointing out something that was true. I don't know. And this is why, like, you don't want to get in a fight with me, because I'm not like a jump to the apology kind of person. Like, to me, when someone's like, I own that, they're standing firm in what they said. I said what I said. I choose my choice. What's that from? I choose my choice. That's my favorite. And another person I saw doing this, oh, I own that, was that trick bitch Shayna. Every time I look over, she's sucking her lips in and squinting her eyes. I'm like, what in the name of a goose face are you trying to achieve here? Like, she's like a Canadian goose alighted on the stage, like to poop everywhere and peck the eyes out of everybody else. She's just so ridiculous. She's like, no, I own that. I own that. Bitch, you don't own jack shit. You don't own jack shit. Oh no, it was nothing with Shane. No, we didn't get together like that. No. Who was her fiance? Did he have a name? Ben? Kyle, the bat. He looks like a little cartoon bat, like in a cute way, but he looks like a cartoon bat. Or not a cartoon. He looks like a real bat. They're cute. How she's like, no, it had nothing to do with your looks. Like, oh, your hesitation was his personality. Okay. I don't feel like she was being honest, you know? And I made notes. What did I say? Oh, that's right. That she accepted his proposal because, like, it was a people-pleasing moment. And I own that. You are so full of shit. You know what, though? Maybe she's not. Like, people-pleasing, I hate it when people do this. I hate this shit. They take a very negative trait, which on her is her relentless need to be needed. Her need for attention, her ego, right? The reason she accepted Bat Kyle's proposal is because she needed someone to want her. She could not handle the rejection from Shane. She couldn't get her head around, like, he wants that girl, not me. Okay, wow. She couldn't just be like, you know what? Sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles. I guess that means they're better for each other. I don't know why, but clearly they like each other. So that's pretty much the biggest indication that they're compatible, is they like each other. She couldn't just sit with that and be like, that sucks. I came out the loser on this. I'm going to take the L. She couldn't do it. She had to have that W. She had to have that fucking ring, right? And so she was willing to get engaged to Kyle. So the fact that she's wrapping that in a people-pleasing moment, which is like cute, you know, in a job interview, it's like, tell us your weaknesses. I care too much and I work too hard. Oh, do you, Crystal? Okay, please. It's like, I steal. Like, that's my fatal flaw. I talk mad shit about everyone, especially it's going to be you. And boy, oh boy, do I steal. Like, no one says that. And so for her, this was just exactly that. I'm just a people pleaser. I'm just such a godly Christian woman that I'm just a people pleaser. I just want to make everyone so happy, as evidenced by the fact I called Natalie and told her, oh, if it doesn't work, I have a guy for you. And then I sat with Shane and said, no one believes your relationship is real. Because I just want to please people and make them feel good. That's why I say things like that. Does this chick think we can't see through this? I mean, maybe some people can't. But I can. I'm not some people. I'm Shallon Lester. And you guys are Shalligators, which means you're ahead of the pack. The pack that we built, because we're pack builders, because we're alphas. Okay. So yeah, Shane is just a bag of horse shit. Let's see, what else? Oh, Jarrett and Ayanna. Can we talk about those braids? They're too much. It's a lot of look, as Tim Gunn would say on Project Runway. It's a lot of look. Her short hair was so cute. And like short hair like that is, I don't think, cute on almost anyone. Adorable on her. She was like this little pixie woodland elf, just this adorable little sprightly creature. And those braids are so heavy. I mean, like physically on her head. I've had extensions. They hurt your neck. And to go from having like no real hair, you know, like such short hair, to these like pounds and pounds of extensions. Oh, that seems awful. I wonder if that's her trying to fit in with Jarrett. I don't know. Maybe she just wanted to mix it up, but I don't know. I think they're still like the cutest couple. Danielle and Nick, who even fucking knows? We shredded her in the last video. I think she's the most toxic person. Even when Shake was like digging himself the largest grave in the entire world, talking about Deepti, and like basically like her body wasn't good enough, triggered Danielle. I could see was like curling into Nick because she was just so triggered by it. It was just her way to make, I don't know. I can't stand her. I've known people like her my whole life. And it's like, I am so stocked up with those covert narcissists, but whatever. They're happy. Yay. Good for them. I'm glad we didn't linger on them, nor did the show. Okay, let's talk about Shake. It's crazy to me how much people on the show hated that guy. I mean, they came like ready for war, like out of the gate, like hated him. Like no one was even vaguely on his side during this. And I find that, hear me out, I find that honestly a little fucked up because here's what Shake said. We're going to get back to this. If there was a big weight discrepancy, I couldn't get past it. He was saying things like that. But I was ready to get deep, like really deep. No, you weren't. He kept referring to marriage as akin to a purchase. A purchase. A purchase of like, I don't know, a large, no, not a car, like a large farm animal, like chattel, because I own her, purchase. I mean, he didn't say those things, but that was like the subtext. Like women don't actually like to be compared to like a purchase. Weirdly, it's actually pretty fucking off-putting. I don't know. And he just kept digging himself deeper and deeper as he was trying to explain why he didn't want to fuck Deepti. What he should have said was this. This is an amazing woman. I love her with my heart and my soul. But I think we've all been in the position, we're all adults, we've all dated, where you cannot create chemistry. It's either there or it's not. And it's nobody's fault. It's not because some person doesn't look like this or do that. It just is. We're animals. Yeah. And he did say that. We're animals. And then Nick Lachey's like, no, you treat animals. You treat people like people. Like Nick Lachey was like, not here for this. But Shake was not wrong in like the essence of what he was saying. He just, his own horrible personality and awfulness wrapped a universal truth, which is you cannot create chemistry, in the most off-putting package and delivery possible, using words like criteria. Someone has to meet my criteria. Can we talk about how fucking dumpy Shake is? Do you remember when you saw him with his shirt off? Sorry, you look like you were wearing a brown dress, like a wobbly brown dress. Oh, you want to body shame Deepti? Guess the fuck what? Here we are, dude. This is equality. Oh, do you not believe in equality? Too bad. I do. It's a two-way street. Like, I love how he's like, could I lift you? You couldn't lift a baby. Like, you have no muscle tone. You're like this douchebag veal. No muscles whatsoever, careening around life. And again, don't trust a vet with no pets. So Shake could have saved himself if he had any ability to divorce his awful personality from like very human universal truths. He doesn't, which is why he's awful. So fuck him. But it brings us to the question of, what do you do if you have the ick? Can you fix it? No. Look, I'm going to shoot you straight. No. The ick is lethal. It is. Because the ick, like I said, the ick isn't, you don't get the ick for icky people. You get the ick for people who you don't understand why you don't want to fuck them. Although Shake, it's like, in his mind, he did understand. It's like, well, she's fat, or she doesn't have a big enough ass, or her tits are too small. Whatever he was not saying, because this is the thing, like on the show, on this reunion, they implied, or maybe they even said it flat out, like what you saw was like the tip of the iceberg in terms of terrible things he said, which I think is odd that Netflix wouldn't show that. Maybe that was like trying to be respectful for Deepti, but like, look, it's TV. And if you want a villain, let him loose. And it's funny, Shake said that, oh, it was just bad editing. No, it isn't. I've had a reality TV show, okay? They're not like, and I don't want to fuck her. Like, they're not Frankenstein stitching your words together. Like, you said those things. There's no real context to, I have no attraction to her. She's like a family member. I'm not sure what context that would be okay in. There is no, it's context free. It's just sucky. And by the way, we are going to talk about Shane and Natalie. I'm going to do a whole separate video about whether or not one fight can change everything and what to do if it does. Can you come back from that? I'm going to tell you all about that. So that's why we're not really going to touch on them in this one. I want to do a whole other one. So I want to focus on garbage shake right now. Garbage poop shake. A shake made of poop. What are we saying? The ick. Can you come back from it? No. The reason the ick becomes so lethal and so like visceral, where it's like, I can't even stand to listen to you breathe. It's like I'm allergic to you. I don't, right? That's how it feels. There's this element of like rage and resentment that comes from cognitive dissonance, because your logic brain is looking at this person and you're like, I should want to fuck you. I should. Just, where is it? But your heart and your body is like, I don't think so. No. And so it's this constant tension in your mind. And when we have that kind of tension in any category of our life, resentment and bitterness and subsequent rage is exactly what creeps in. You work so hard at your job, you're smarter than your boss, but you make 50 grand less a year. The logic and the reality don't match and you're livid about it, right? And this happens on the chemistry level with dating. And the more we try and the more we beat ourselves up, it's like, what's wrong with me? I should want to be tearing this person's clothes off. When I've encountered the ick, what I think, sorry, my Q-tip mic is, what I end up thinking is like, I am spitting in the face of God. Like, that's how I feel. It's like I have prayed and prayed and prayed and hoped and wished and manifested and blah, 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 to bring this exact person into my life. Kind, smart, sensitive, whatever, what all the amazing traits they have. And I don't want to fuck. Right? It seems like an affront to the blessing, you know? And then what are you left to think? Well, damn, what's wrong with me? Am I so broken and or so undeserving that I can't love this person? I can't even touch them. I can't even sit on the couch with them. So, oh no, I can definitely feel that way for that nightmare of a fuck boy who called me fat, told me I had kinkles, implied I was losing my hair, whatever it was. Oh no, him I couldn't get enough of. But a nice guy? No. Gross. What's wrong with me? Sound familiar? We've all been there. A few things are happening when you get the ick. First and foremost, you're dating on paper, okay? I'm so happy to be back with coffee bean and tea leaf. I almost called it California Pizza Kitchen. It's the bullet ice. You hear that? That's a sound Jesus makes when he says my name. This is my name in Jesus. It's tiny little bullet ice sloshing around in the freshly brewed iced tea. I love you too. You're dating on paper. Because when you're dealing with the ick, you know what word you're saying to yourself over and over? Should. I should like them. I should. Shoulds don't really get us anywhere. I should do a million things. Like, we have to feel what we feel. And it typically, when I've gotten the ick, it's someone who it's like I never felt that chemistry from the beginning, but all these other boxes were being checked so hard that it was inconceivable to me that I shouldn't date them. But he's my same religion, my same job, my same, like, we match in so many ways. Other people are telling me this is who I should be with, but I just don't feel it, right? Or I should be dating someone. I shouldn't be single. I should be getting engaged, blah, blah, blah. You're trying to force something. And the psyche must be heard, and she's going to do it the hard way if she has to. The easy way is, I'm not feeling this. Mom, Dad, I know he's perfect on paper. I know that. But he's not a job. Like, jobs need to be perfect on paper. Houses need cars. There's another element, and that's chemistry, and it's not there. And if it's not there at the beginning, it is never going to be there. Because the big argument you might also tell yourself is, hey, you know what? Love fades over time. Not love, the spark fades. And I believe I heard Shake say that. Because I was like, I get it. I get where he's coming from. It's like this, or maybe it was even Shane who said it. Like, the spark is going to fade. So what are you basing your choices on? Like, you can't just choose the person you're like, I want to fuck him. You can't marry the person you want to fuck the most. But the word there that's key is fade. Fade. that means it starts somewhere and it goes down. It doesn't start low and keep on flatlining. And I've been in relationships where that was the case. And I told myself, yeah, but it's going to fade. It's going to fade. Fade doesn't mean completely flame out. And I remember telling one of my friends, like, I was in an ick relationship and I'm like, I mean, you don't want to like, you guys have been together like 3 years. You don't want to like still fuck him, right? Because I don't want to fuck my boyfriend after 2 months. So, but that's like where it's going to go. And she was like, no, I do. I mean, it's not the same as it was the first month we started dating, but no, I definitely want to still have sex with him. Yeah. And when we do, like, it's good. It's different, but no, I'm still attracted to him. And I was like, oh no. Oh no. It was the truth and I knew it and I wouldn't acknowledge it. And that never usually leads anywhere good. Because we've talked before, it's like, I talk to you guys all the time and it almost never comes down to, I didn't know. It's, I knew. On some level, I knew, whether it was the boss is never going to promote me, this friend can't be trusted, I have the ick for this person, he's actually probably cheating. I knew. And I just wouldn't face it. So, okay, instead of wasting 3 months, I wasted 3 years, 30 years. Great job. And I arrived at the exact same place I actually started at because I did know. Also, can we touch on the fact that Vanessa Lachey kept using the term dismangled? Can we touch on that? It's not a word. But she was heated. She was heated. But again, it's like Shake's experience is not new. It's how he chose to express it and deal with it, which was gaslighting, basically. Like, well, Deepti's the problem. She's the problem. Like, it's because she's not thin enough or she's this or whatever his personal peccadillo was, it was her fault. And that, we cannot do that when we have the ick. We can't. But that can be where it leads, because we have this resentment and this anger, and it comes out as like, don't touch me. Like, we get mad at this person for like literally sitting on the couch and breathing. You know, you breathe. Do you have to breathe like that? And then they just get shredded. They don't know what on earth is going on. They know something's up, right? Because maybe we've been on the other side of the ick. Oh, fuck. Which brings me to the other part of this video. How do you know when someone's got the ick for you? You know what? We're going to throw out the term the ick. It's too much. It's too much. We're just going to say, how do you know when a guy's not that into you? I look back on the Shake and Deepti like footage, and he's not making a ton of eye contact. He's physically reared back. And you know who else was doing that a lot? Nick, who married Danielle. Like, he was like, like the lights were on and he was like sort of looking at her, like looking past her, but it was like the wheels were turning and he was having freakouts about her. And I'm like, I don't think they're going to last. I think she's a little bit unbearable, but okay. But like, Deepti was like not very engaged. So how do you know if someone has maybe they're just not that into it? Well, how do we behave when we have the ick? We get mean and resentful because you feel trapped and you're just like, blah, you're expressing your own severe cognitive dissonance. You don't know why you feel this way. And it's easier to blame them. You know, it's their breathing. It's their dumb, look at the way they're eating their crackers. Like, they own the place. Like, you're just incensed, right? Because again, you feel trapped and you don't understand why you can't fix this. So if your partner is getting mad at you for little things, that's a bad sign. And true, that can actually happen later on in a relationship when there is just so much water under the bridge and tension. But if this is happening like early on, get out. Another thing that means someone's really not that into it, their excuses for why are endlessly shape-shifting, endlessly shifting, right? Oh, like look at Shayna and Kyle. It was like, well, it's Jesus. It's the Jesus thing. Well, maybe it's this. Maybe it's that. It's like, it was just a never-ending cornucopia, like one after the other, of like reasons why the other person was like not really measuring up. And because look, if you hear nothing else from this video, hear this. Human beings will say and do whatever they have to avoid saying the phrase, I'm just not attracted to you. I'm just not attracted to you. I'm not that into it. I don't know why, but I'm not. Because that's the thing. When we tell someone I'm not into it, their question is why? Because they want us to be. And so clearly they're asking, they want closure, clarity, or the opportunity to fix something. Well, why? What's wrong? If there's something I'm doing wrong, tell me and I'll stop doing it. And what are we supposed to say? I don't like the way you breathe. You physically repulse me for no real reason that I can come up with, but you do. Of course, we're not going to say that. That's a difficult thing to say because we ourselves don't even understand it. So how can we be like, I don't know, you gross me out? They're like, I have a 6-pack. And I'm like, really? I gross you out? And you're like, you sure do. You can't say that, right? Because it makes no sense. And then you feel crazy. And you're like, and again, I'm spitting in God's face for bringing me this blessing. Great job, Shallon. So we're going to come up with a whole bunch of different reasons why. I mean, the things I've told guys I've had the ick for. I'm busy with work. Oh, it's just a bad time. I think I still might be into my ex. You're not my same political affiliation. We live too far away. Sound familiar? Have you heard any of these things? I'm just super stressed right now. I have anxiety. I can't even get out with a straight face. Of course, I've never told someone that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Okay? Not that anxiety is ridiculous. I'm on medication for anxiety. It's ridiculous to blame your problems on that. Stop it. Get some help. So we got to be real cognizant. If it's not a hell yes, I want to fuck you. Hell yeah, get over here. Hell yes. Then it's a hell no. There actually cannot be shades of gray in the middle. Well, maybe I want to have sex with you. Oh, maybe. Wow, how flattering. Thanks. Do you want to hear that? Is that okay for you? This shit's a pass fail. You're all in or you got to be all out. If it's not a hell yes, it is a hell no. It's a hell no. And we have to learn to see how that hell no is dressed up because it's going to be wearing a different outfit in different circumstances. It is never going to come to us naked. I'm not attracted to you. They're not going to say that. Or look, guys don't get the ick as much as women because guys will fuck anything, right? They're disgusting. But like, into you, I want to date you, I don't want to wife you up, I don't want to girlfriend you up, whatever. It doesn't matter. Whatever they have the ick for, it might not be your body, and this is the problem. It might be a commitment ick. It might be a love ick. Oh, isn't that worse? I know. I'm like getting physically like ill thinking about like all the ways someone can reject me. It's horrifying. But we have to look at that. When a guy's like, yeah, I'm just really busy. Say no more. Say no more. I'm picking up what you're putting down. If a guy's really into it, well, yeah, I'm busy. And you know what, girl? I know you're busy too, baby girl. We're going to find a day that works. I'm going to move my schedule around. I'm going to make this happen. If something's important, they find a way. And if it's not, they find an excuse. That's a human truth. I don't ask, well, why aren't you into it? I don't ask. Okay, that's fine. Say no more. I'm getting up and I'm leaving. I don't argue. I don't clap back. I don't do anything. I bow out with the only thing I have to take from this situation. My dignity. That's it. Sometimes that's all we can take. And you know what? That's enough. Taking my dignity out of a situation that's heartbreaking and confusing and very hurtful. At least we've got that. No one can take your dignity unless you hand it to them on the way out. Oh, here, would you like a doggy bag? It's my whole pride. It's my whole identity. Thank you. And I am proud of Deepti for standing up at that altar and being like, bye. Nope. She picked up what he put down. Maybe it took her longer than, we saw in the audience, but like he was also in a way like gaslighting her with like, I love you. You're fantastic. You're wonderful. But she eventually got it. And I watched her wedding scene again recently because how she looked when she was walking down that aisle, she was beaming. That was a happy girl because she had taken back her power. That's why she felt good. You looked at these other girls walking down the aisle like, they looked terrified because either they didn't know what the other person was going to say. Like there was no real resolution. There was no power. They had no agency, It's like, oh, well, can you imagine being your wedding day and you're like, I hope he says I do. I'm going to get all the way down. I'm putting on this dress like a clown, like an absolute joke. And he's going to be like, no. Can you imagine that? What a nightmare. It's like showing up to work. It's like, I hope I wasn't fired in the middle of the night and I'm the last to know about it. I hope security's not waiting for me at my cubicle. So Deepti had erased her own cognitive dissonance. She decided, I'm not marrying this motherfucker. Am I going to wear this beautiful sari? Am I going to put my bindi on? Am I going to get my hair done? Yes. And I'm going to go down there and say, actually, I don't want you. You rejected me first. That's true. I can't change that outcome. I can't change your feelings. What I can do is remove myself from a situation that isn't good enough for me. Because someone who doesn't want to fuck me isn't good enough. Someone who doesn't want to wife me up or love me or fill in that blank because it's not always about the looks and the chemistry, right? I think back on Gavin. Do you guys remember Gavin, who I dated last year? And I did a video on around Christmas time, that I had just dumped him. I think back on dumping him, I wish I could do it again and again and again. I wish I could do it 1,000 times. Not because I'm just a monster. But because I was drunk with my own personal power. I was no longer being victimized by a relationship, you know what I mean, that wasn't good enough for me. And I said, this hasn't met my standard. I'm moving on. Bye. Yes, he rejected me first. I don't really think that I dumped him. It's I dipped out of a situation where he wasn't treating me right. And it's well, that's because he wasn't that into you. I know that. I know that. But I have also been in situations where a guy wasn't that into me. Oh, I wasn't going anywhere. Oh no. I was holding on. I was riding till the wheels fall off, and they did, and they ran over me. And so to stand up and say, it's not a hell yes, and therefore it is a hell no. Goodbye. We think oh, what a rejection, and we're going to feel awful feeling this way. It's the opposite. I felt so powerful because I felt brave enough to look at the writing on the wall and be like, okay, I see it. And I'm strong enough to walk away because I kind of didn't need you to begin with. I liked you and I wanted you for a while, but did I need you? No. No. And then it's I don't need anybody. Why? Because I'm this bitter, frigid, I don't need anybody. No, it's the opposite. It's because I'm really happy. When I dumped him, I had already lost 20 pounds. Business was good. I was hanging out with my friends all the time. Cowboy was good and healthy. I had trips coming up. Life was great. Still is. It's even better. But I was able to walk away from him. I had the strength to do that because the rest of my life was where it should be. And so therefore, someone who isn't all in on me, it was a foreign feeling. One of these things is not like the other. My friends love me. My family loves me. My fans love me. You're thinking it's okay to go 3 days without talking to me? No. Simply put, I had too much self-esteem for that. I had too much confidence. I know my worth, and I wasn't willing to put myself on any sort of clearance rack to hold on to someone, and neither was Deepti. And that's why she's so amazing. It's we watched her stand up to someone and not slither out there and, you know what, fine, you just don't love me, that's fine. She was like, hey, bye. I look great. I'm enjoying this day. This is a great day. Bye. I feel fantastic. I bet she wished she could dump him 1,000,000 times. We watched this woman do what we ourselves might not have always been strong enough to feel like we could do. But I am telling you, call it what you want. Pride, standing up for yourself, for me, bloodlust. I should probably get back into therapy. But for once, I wasn't getting my throat cut. I wasn't victimizing myself by staying in a relationship where someone didn't like me. I just wasn't doing it. And I'm this feels amazing. So if you're with a shake and he's no, it's time to cut some throats. It's time to be ruthless. Because if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. We're going to be back with more videos on Love is Blind. Like I said, I'm going to do one on, Natalie and Shane. Can one fight change everything? And I'm going to tell you what you should do if it does and how to change it back. I'll see you later, Shalligators. Like I said, if you want to connect with me one-on-one, head to shallonlester.com. And if you feel generous and want to help the Ukrainian war effort, go to the links below to help puppers and kids and refugees and everyone in between. I'll see you later. Mwah!